don't feel good.
Doesn't look good. I was going to say, do you mind if we say it doesn't look good?
We made it to Tasmania.
I literally was having like a panic attack just watching that. I was like,
that was the worst. That was absolutely terrifying. Oh, that's the worst track I've ever done in my life. I'm just going to drop it straight down to about that 15-16 psi. We have arrived in Tasmania and we're on the start of a 3-week 4-wheel driving and camping trip, and I'm very excited. Come off the ferry this morning at Devonport, and then we've made our way along the north coast heading west eventually through to the town of Arthur River, and then from here we're going to spend the next few days taking on the infamous west coast of Tasmania. We've scored some unreal weather, a little bit of wind, but reasonably light. Blue skies, about 23, what you say, well, 20 degrees, but 20 degrees, and just beautiful. We got myself and Kai in my car, the Nissan Navara, and then we have Dad in his Isuzu MUX. And then Kayla will be flying down about halfway through our trip to meet us in Hobart. We're going to just kind of do the west coast, down south, then back up the east coast. We're going to get in as much as we can across the 3 weeks. First day, 3:30 in the Arvo, we just locked it into 4-wheel drive and heading along this Arthur River beach track. And then from here we're going to follow this down over onto Sandy Cape track, or Sandy Cape. We'll camp somewhere around there tonight. And then the plan tomorrow is to take on the Balfour track. Awesome drive along that Arthur Beach. It's all reasonably easy. A few little creeks come out of it, but very shallow, not much at all. Just come off the other end, I assume, and then we'll head round. I think we'll head back onto the road a bit and come around onto Sandy Cape area. So once we came off the southern end of the Arthur River track, or the Arthur River, that's really hard to say, Arthur River beach run, you end up at Nelson Bay, and then from there you cut back out to the main road, and then from there we came through to the town of Temma, and then just south of Temma is the Sandy Cape track. We're going to take on the Sandy Cape track now, which is just a one-way in, one-way out track, I think. We're going to head down there. It's apparently a pretty good track. Along the beach through the dunes and that, and then we'll find a camp spot down there tonight. And then once we get the camp, I'll back up to where we are in the Tassie map and how we got over here on the ferry and all that other stuff. This is my first time full driving on the west coast of Tassie. It's one of those places that I've read about, seen videos of for a long time, and I just couldn't wait to get down there, so we made plans, made it happen. I was so excited to be there. From the start of the Sandy Cape track to the lighthouse, I'd say it'd be a good couple of hour run depending on how you go along the way. The track kind of comes in three main sections, I'd say. You got the first, third, which is just kind of this tight, windy track through the bush. A few sand bits, a few rocky bits like what we are navigating here. Now the trickier rocky bits, there are tracks around them. You don't have to do them, but we do like to have that little bit of low range fun, try and break up the driving a bit. The second section is more a coastal drive, kind of along a dirt track where you're dropping in and out of bays along the coastline, which is just a beautiful area. And then you got the final long beach stretch, the run all the way up to the lighthouse, where you got maybe a K or so of tracks to navigate at the end to get through to the lighthouse. After smashing your way through the bush and scrub on the track for the last what felt like maybe about 45 minutes, starting to open up now, just get these spectacular coastline views. So cool. I couldn't believe the weather we had this day. This is known as the wild west coast of Tassie due to just hurricane winds, rain and big swells. That was up there and I just absolutely annihilated it with my car. I was coming down on this little beach here. I didn't see like this sharp rocks sticking up here and the whole car just went bam with an almighty thud into it and smashed this big rock here to pieces. And that's what I did to the slider there, put a dent in it, but didn't move the structure of the whole thing. But geez, that was a big hit. Coming up 6:40 and we're getting a little bit tired and worn out. We've been going since 5 o'clock this morning on the ferry. But just an absolutely spectacular track and part of the world. Like, you really feel like you're out exploring the wilderness here. When you come along this beach, along the Sandy Cape beach, there's quite a few of these river crossings, and that's what they say to be very careful of with your quicksand. Very careful where you negotiate them. They say closer to the ocean the better normally. I've just kind of been sticking to where all the other tracks are now. This is where the other tracks have crossed it. Now this is the first one that's actually like a little bit soft, but it's only that deep. I'm sure it won't be a problem, but Dad's just going to cruise across first, sacrifice his car first. Managed to come right up the end of this Sandy Cape beach up to, there's a lighthouse somewhere around here, but we haven't seen it yet. But it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's nearly pick your own adventure out here. There's just tracks everywhere. We kept going and going. We went past the lighthouse way down. Oh, there's a wombat car straight up ahead on the track there, big black one. Ooh, there's a wombat. We've seen so much wildlife. We've seen rabbits, roos, wombats, hawks. We've seen them all. There's heaps of wildlife out here. But yeah, now we're trying to find a camp. It's 8 o'clock. We thought we'd come to something up the end there, but we didn't. The tracks just kept going and going and going. Then we're on to another like little bay beach up there. Went past a hut. I don't know where we are, what's going on, but this is just an incredible like area out here, and you know, you got that freedom to explore and do as you please kind of thing. You know, not do as you please in completely, but you know, there's tracks and, you know, areas to explore, and now it's not just one main track, go down that, come back, that's it. You know, you can get out here, you can do some adventuring and exploring, but we are hoping to find somewhere to camp somewhere very soon. After a little bit of searching, we managed to find the track that linked out to the lighthouse, and oh man, what a spot that is out there. We made it out to the lighthouse. What a spot. Haven't seen anyone out here like all day, other than way back earlier on the Sandy Cape track. Past a few quad bikers on the way in, and then you're just literally out in the middle of nowhere here, like no one around. I think we're gonna set up camp just back down there. So like there's a real nice grassy spot overlooking the bay. Got all this, got the lighthouse there. How good's this spot, Kai? We're getting there just as the sun's going down. Wow, what a first day.
Yeah, so that's where we come from. We come on that beach there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, way back up there. Got the big fire pit out. You know why it's good to use a fire pit, Kai?
It doesn't go over it.
Yeah, so it's safer, and then we don't make like a burn pile anywhere. We can just put the ashes like over in the dirt somewhere, and also it's a lot better to cook on. And it kind of like burns a bit better in this too.
Pro tip, son. This is how you light a fire.
You know what we should grab out? And new solar lights. These are a little last minute addition I got for this trip. 2 of these from Drifter solar puffs. They're just like a flat thing. You sit them on your dash and they charge up. I think it takes 8 hours, and then you get 8 to 12 hours battery out of them. Turn them on and you got a little lamp that you can hang anywhere. Then when I'm making dinner, I can sit there and see what I'm doing.
Screw a head torch, it might as well sell them.
There you go, you can use one of yours wherever you want.
Here, it's on my hand. I can always see now. Dad, why don't you do this? Everywhere you walk, you can see.
It doesn't get dark in Tassie till so late. It is 9:45 and it's still like the sun went down. What time did the sun go down, Dad? You reckon like 9:10 or so? And it's 9:45 now and we still got light. Like, you know, we're starting to use our lights now. But up till like, probably not up till nearly 9:30, you need to start using camp lights in January here in Tassie. Do you know what these actually are, but they're whale bones. Someone's collected all the whale bones and put them on this log on the beach.
Well, I collected a new one.
We're exploring the area around camp this morning. Just so many cool little coves and beaches and rock formations around this area, and no one out here. Such a spectacular spot where we camped here last night. It was a beautiful night. There wasn't too much wind or anything. A little bit of cloud come over this morning, but it's all good. But just beachfront views. Bit of a slow, easy morning. We're all pretty worn out from 2 big days driving down to the ferry, and then we had a massive day yesterday as well. To back up a little bit, Tasmania is obviously off the mainland of Australia. You do have to catch a ferry over here, the Spirit of Tasmania. Ferry tickets for myself, Kai, in a 4-wheel drive with a loaded roof rack, and we did night trips, so you have accommodation both ways. Costs about $1,260, I think it was. That's for the return trip. So obviously a big map of Tassie. We're up the top up here now. So when you catch the ferry, you come off here at Devonport, and then we spent the day cruising up along this coast along here. Actually, we stopped here at Stanley at the Nut, which was pretty cool there. I got some footage of that on my phone, where we caught the chairlift up the top there and had a walk around the top. Pretty beautiful place up there. Having fun, Kai?
Yep.
We're on the chairlift on the way up the Nut, just behind the town of Stanley. This is pretty cool. Whoa. And then from there we came back down. This Marrawat is the last place to get fuel before you get all the way down to Zeehan. So we got fuel there, and then we came down to Arthur River, where the National Park, here it is here, where the National Parks office is. And you need to get your permits and that for the area. And then from there we did that Arthur River beach run. We came back out on the main road a bit, down to Temma, and then from Temma you head south down on the Sandy Cape track, and this is where we are right now, way down here at Sandy Cape. So from here we got to go back up and then out the Balfour track, and then from there we'll head down into Trial Harbour to the Climbers track and Pieman River and that. These are the two maps I'm using for this trip. It's a HEMA Tasmania map, which just gives you a big look over the whole place. It doesn't have a massive amount of detail, but still has all the towns and all the main roads and some of the tracks on it. And then I bought this book as well, which is a 4-wheel drive tracks in Tasmania. And it gives you like a whole list of all the sort of different off-road tracks you can do. Kind of gives you coordinates, directions on how to get to them, things like that, so that's quite helpful as well. About 1 o'clock when we finally packed up camp. Had a nice cruisy morning here, taking it all in and getting everything organised after a few busy days. There's so many tracks to explore in this area, and like you can kind of pick your own challenge. We found this good hill here we're going to try and take on. It's got an interesting rock step and climb up over the top there. This little hill was right next to where we'd camped. It just took you up to the lighthouse and then you had to come straight back out of it. It was only 150 metres long, but I'd been looking at it all morning. I couldn't help myself but get up there and have a crack at it. It actually ended up being a little bit difficult to navigate. Those rocks there were reasonably big and you couldn't see over your bonnet or see what was going on. It was quite a tight squeeze through the middle there. But Dad helped guide me over the UH radio. We got through there pretty drama free, turn around and then straight back out again. The other thing I will say is those rock sliders are very quickly becoming one of my favourite mods. Already saved me several times now. One thing to keep in mind with this place is, from all accounts and everyone I've spoke to, we had this run up the beach and up to Sandy Cape about as easy as you will get it. But I have heard many horrific stories about that beach run. Depending on rain and swell and conditions at the time, that beach can very quickly become the horrors, and many vehicles have been lost along there, predominantly due to the little creek crossings, and the quicksand along there just really catches people out. So what you saw in this video was the Sandy Cape run on a very easy day, but there are much harder days out there of four-wheel driving, but it also keeps the place interesting because you go there and it may be different each year. We explored a few of the little side tracks on the way out, checked out some of the beautiful bays and beaches, had a bit of fun before we headed north, back up out the way we came. Made off those inland tracks in there, back onto the main Sandy Cape beach, and then you got maybe 12 k's run back up to the other end. And once you come off the other end, then you got the inland tracks all the way back out again. From the end of the Sandy Cape track, that lighthouse there, we've come maybe an hour and a half sort of back out of the track, and then we found a nice grassy spot here. We're going to set up for the night. We've sort of had a cruisy day today. It's only 4:30, we wanted an early setup. We left out of the camp at lunchtime because the next track we're doing is the Balfour track out of here. We didn't want to try and rush that today and get all stressed and try. I don't know how long that's going to take to get through there. So have an easy arvo, and then we'll sort of leave 8-9 in the morning and head. It's only about half hour through to the Balfour track, which runs off this Sandy Cape track. But just absolutely spectacular coastline along here, and so many nice like camp spots to choose from, and we haven't seen anyone all day yet. I'm just going to set up my solar blanket too while we're here, because we've still got 4 hours afternoon sun left. Because we only did maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours driving, and that dual battery system was draining when I left this morning. And I've still been hammering it today with the inverter, with the drone and laptop and all my camera gear, and always run the fridge and everything else. So it's just about, it's already down to 12.3 now. There's the problem down here. It looks like it's not long after lunch where the sun is. It's already 5:30, so now to get this fire going and then cook up a bit of a feed.
Is that a good job?
Bring your bowl and I'll come show you. Leave that. Down to the water and I'll show you what we're getting.
What the heck? What? Is that like a lobster?
Yeah, we're getting a lobster to go in it. Over on the rocks in front of you.
What the hell are you doing? I was getting some food. Are we gonna dip with it?
Do you know what it is?
No. Are we just sitting next to the water, right?
No.
I'm so confused. I'm literally so confused. This is the most confused I've ever been in my entire life.
Alright, can you see it?
Yeah, I see those puddles.
Pa showed me it before, and we already got some out of here. Do you know what this is?
Yeah.
Fresh sea salt. So you get a bit off and put it on your
Oh wow.
dinner and taste that. Like sea salt.
Oh, it's sea salt like on the chips I have.
Yeah, it's like chip salt.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
You just get the little bits off the top. Don't have too much because it's strong, but just taste a bit. Taste a little bit.
Oh, it's so strong.
It's strong.
Oh wow.
It's salt, but sea salt. Oh, that's strong. Well, I need to mix that in a little bit. That tastes yum, but.
That is strong.
Alright, dinner's ready. How cool are all these clouds up in the sky? Better do some time lapses of them. And that's the end of our first couple of days in Tassie in a beautiful sandy cape. What a spectacular part of the world. A little bit more relaxing to get the trip started, but from here things start to get more interesting. We head for the infamous Balfour track before heading down to the Clymies and Lake Cumberland track. Actually also gone to effort to properly organise the car this trip as well, so I got some drifter and some crash pad bags here that I'm using to organise everything. These are like the drifter sort of clear top zip bags. So I got fruit and veg in that one. I got backup camera gear and some electronics in that one. I got a big bag here with all my clothes in it, and then I got some of these crash pad like satchel things as well. So that's got like Kai's clothes. Both of those have got Kai's clothes in them. I just kind of used to chuck everything in or use green bags, and it was a bit of a pain in the ass. So much better having it nicely organised. And then over this side, just got 2 food boxes. I got a table behind there. Actually got a solar blanket behind there too to plug in if we set up somewhere for a little while. Back seat organizer there, that's an MSA one, I think it is, yeah, MSA one. Just keep a heap of gear in it, you know, just keep it all organised. And I just try and keep everything as organised as possible. It just makes my life a whole lot easier when I'm on the road. Same in the back here, everything's neatly organised in bags now. I got the gas cooker, and then I got the recovery gear bag with all the gear in it. Another drifter bag there. Actually, this is a new sort of bag like setup I got to keep with me. Got a couple of batteries and a Makita cordless grinder. Main reason being, should I break a CV, I can grind it out, cut it out, and get out of here and get out of a place in 2-wheel drive, because I don't carry a spare one with me and I don't know how to change one. So they're 2 things I'll start first, try and start carrying a spare CV. Learn how to change one, but for the moment I at least got a grinder, so if you do break it, depending on how you break it, you can't drive with a snap CV, otherwise you just grind the front end to pieces. You can just fully lock up, so that way you can just chop it out. And then the other thing I got like a heap of spare discs, got a couple of batteries there. And I've also got a, what's this brand, Noco, I think it's a GB70. It's like a portable jump starter, so that way if you get a flat battery, it happened to me once, I got a flat battery out in the middle of nowhere, lucky. I was on a hill and I was able to roll start, clutch start my car, but this will start your car like 15-20 times if you have a dead battery. Plus it's got like charging points on it too, so you can charge your car. I don't know, there's a few extra bits and pieces I've bought in the last few months sort of to take away with me. I keep it all in that bag there. Not really cheap gear, but this was about $350, and then Dad actually got me the grinder and pack and that for Christmas. I think that was like $400 or $450 for that set. There's another bag I got all these bags. Honestly, it makes my life so much easier. I'm using this in the back as a dirty clothes bag. It's got like a PVC lining, so it's waterproof. That way, being a ute open to the rain and weather, I can just put all my dirty clothes and gear in there and chuck it in the back, and it, you know, won't get any more wet or anything. And then yeah, obviously I got the fridge in the back there. This one's just full of more like clothes and blankets and towels and sheets and that. That's got all that recovery gear and tools and bits and pieces in. I got 40 litres of water I keep in the back. This is the alley box from Drifter. I keep a heap of camping gear in here, all my cookware, cutlery, kitchenware, you know, gas bottles, all those different things. But yeah, everything just fits like nicely, neatly in the back. Box, this, water, fridge, it's all just easy to access. You know, I may get a tray or canopy set up down the track, people always ask, but honestly this works pretty well for the moment. And lastly, in the front here, to keep everything organised, I got more drifter bags. These are just so handy. Got another clear top one here which goes up back of Kai's feet there. Got all these like activities, reading books, colouring in books in there. And then keep this at his feet too, because he always wants snacks. So I've got a bag full of snacks here for him. And then at his feet too, for easy access for me, is my camera bag that I'm using as we drive. So I've got a big camera bag in the back, but I just keep like the drone, GoPro, and the immediate chargers I need in this at my feet, so I can just grab it, charge it, you know, grab it and charge it as need be. Yeah, that's a bit of a rough idea of how I'm keeping this thing organised when we're away now. About 10 days Kayla's joining us. That's going to be interesting, trying to fit a third person and more stuff.